Hey folks, this is Jim. I watched gold bounce off 5 times from a high and drop consistently now for 5 different times. So we got a quintuple top, and usually a triple top means something. Either it's going to break out or it's going to fall. Well, now we've hit top again twice after the triple top, and it keeps dropping. It's only down about $50 right now, and who knows what's going to happen. But I want to share with you my fears about the gold and silver market right now. Just so I put this seed in your mind, you can do whatever you want. I never give advice. And speaking of that, this video is not economics advice, financial advice, or advice of any kind. Please seek out the right professional advice that is right for you. This video is for entertainment purposes only. So we see that gold keeps bouncing off this $2,060 range to 265, and then it drops back down into the high 19s. China quit buying at 1800. China started buying at 1629, so that tells me big players are out at about 1800, and that should be a red flag for everyone. Okay, now you do what you want. I don't give advice, but I have been in the gold and silver game for a long time. I am quite satisfied with my holdings of gold and silver, and so I do not worry about it anymore. When I purchase gold or silver, it is specifically as an investment, and it has to be below a certain price, creating value for me instantly. If it doesn't do that, I don't buy. And right now, I would not buy silver at $4 to $5 over spot. That's ridiculous. I don't pay over $1 an ounce over spot for silver, and I will wait until that market returns. And it probably will, because right now the refiners are boosting again, just like, remember, through 08 through 2014. Go back and look at the algorithms of gold and silver back then, and then I want you to fast forward to today and go look at the algorithms again. Okay, a little different this time, but yet almost mimicking what happened. Silver hasn't shot to $50 an ounce yet, so we still may see that. But then what happened right after that? Through the 08-14 cycle, it fell right down again, didn't it? Okay, so the whole point on this video is be careful. And the reason why is when I saw China pull out at about 18.20 an ounce, they didn't buy any more. Contracts, dropped, and China's holding. I'm holding. I see others holding, and there are no buyers other than a very small amount up at this price level, and that's the key for me. I'm looking at the number of buyers in the gold and silver market at this level, okay? And it's certainly, when it comes to silver and industrial production and all of that, their contracts are much lower, okay? So no one be aware of that too. Businesses aren't paying that much for silver. They have contracts, okay? Just like you have shipping contracts, oil contracts, futures, things of that nature. So these people are locked into a price that's far less than what you're paying right now. And they certainly don't pay that ridiculous amount over spot. So, that's another cautionary note. When I see this much over spot on anything, that tells me, wow, insanity, okay? Anytime I'm making an investment where I'm immediately losing, like on silver, 20% or more just on the premium, I'm out. I'm sorry. Common sense tells me I'm not in that game. Hell no. Forget it, Something else that concerns me, though, the BRICS want to do this and that and the other thing, and good luck. I hope the BRICS somehow are able to return to some form of Austrian economics, which I used to be a fan of. I no longer am because of the world that we live in. However, I do wish we were under Austrian economic theory, but we're under Keynesian. So we have to deal with what we have. And so I try and stay in reality. But the point I'm trying to make is, if Europe, US, and all the NATO bloc nations go to a closed loop system, they're just going to exclude gold from trade. Okay, and that's over half the world's gross domestic product, correct? So, way over that. So the point I'm trying to make is, you're going to have about 40% of the world trying to trade commodities for currency, and you're going to have 60% of the gross domestic product saying, No, thank you. And you remember the U.S., with all the stuff we're feeding to Europe and all that, nat gas is still down almost at $2 right now. Remember, it shot to 9. Everybody thought, oh, it's going to the moon. And Europe was going to be in all kinds of trouble. Where are we at right now? Almost $2. Didn't I suggest that a long time ago? And why did I get out of oil and gas? This is the reason why. As soon as Canada and the U.S. turn up the floodgates, Saudi Arabia and everybody around the world who produces oil panic. And they immediately start cutting because they know what we can put out. So if that's why we can't tie our currencies to a commodity. It will wind up disastrous because they're too easily manipulated, because we have too many big players in the world who can simply flood a market with something and cause severe havoc and damage in an economic system if your currencies are tied to them. Now, I know the BRICS have a lot of neat ideas and all that stuff, but the world has had a lot of neat ideas for thousands of years with regards to monetary exchange and all of that. So I'm not going to get into a history lesson on economics and Keynesian versus Austrian and all that, but just know what it is. And be careful, because if that closed loop system comes on, they exclude gold. Okay, now what? Right? You got to start considering that. Okay, so who's trading gold now? A bunch of nations. And then if they start trading that gold and they need Western stuff, now what happens? And the West says, no thanks, And if we do take your gold, it's going to be at a severe discount. So now what happens when these countries have to start selling their gold reserves into that market? Remember, there's only 3,125 tons of gold produced a year. That's market. It's global. So then if 1,000 tons of gold come on the market due to a desperate nation dumping reserves, what happens to the price of gold instantly? You got it, because there's going to be a surplus. Okay, there's only 3,125 tons a year. If there goes to 4,100 or 4,500 tons on the market, what do you think's going to happen? That's an increase of 25% to 40% in global gold supply. And if nations need to choose over food or gold, what do you think they're going to choose? So there you go. And I've shared this with preppers before. You can't eat gold, you can't heat your home with gold, and you can't cure a sick child with gold. Okay? But you can with antibiotics, and that's why I choose every year to buy my Gase medical kit, okay, or Jace. That's why, because I believe it's a better value long term. And the whole point of this as well, too, we're in global depopulation, we're in a global decoupling, right? So the world's splitting in two economically. And so we don't know what the big players, the global elites that control the NATO bloc monetarily, what their plans are. But I do know this, a lot of big investors, I'm talking big, hundreds of $billion investors, are not buying gold. Okay? So when you start seeing the shorts come on the market, be careful. There's other things happening too. The whole world's about to change with regards to green energy. They've actually come up with a solution to actually be green. So things are going to change wildly, folks. If we don't go to World War III, everything's about to change across the entire planet. Okay? So know and be aware of that too. I'll do a separate video on that, what's happening with battery technology. And it's here. This isn't a pipe dream. It's actually happening right now. So I've waited a long time to share any of this, but it is here now. And so now it's time to start talking about how things are going to work out. Just be careful. I'm not giving you advice, but please be careful about gold and silver. Remember, anybody selling you gold and silver is exactly doing that, selling it to you. That ought to tell you something in and of itself. If I have something that I believe is going to be worth $5,000 and it's selling at $2,000 right now, I'm not selling it to you. I'm holding it, and I'm going to wait till it hits about $4,000. Then I'll sell it to you. So think about markets, exchange, all of that. Whatever your medium of exchange is, if it's really going to be that valuable, I certainly wouldn't be trading it right now. I'd be holding it until it reaches my value. Then I'll start selling it. right? For other things. So I want you to consider that as well, okay? And refiners eventually, when people run out of money, because there's very little buyers up here, then the refiners' backlog starts happening, and they have to keep doors open, so the prices begin dropping, and spreads over spot begin dropping, everything tightens up, and next thing you know, it's a full liquid market again. So be careful. That's all I'm saying on this video. I've just seen this too many times. Yes, World War III could break out, but you still can't eat gold. You can't heat your house with gold. You can't save a sick child with gold. You can't really plant gold and make it grow. You know what I mean? So it's just the realities of the metal. It's a metal, you know, and it doesn't do a lot other than look nice and hopefully hold value. But if it were ever to truly hit the fan, I don't know what value gold's going to have. I really don't. Because I'd rather have labor, food, and somebody chopping my wood and all that other stuff. And I'd rather get paid that way than having gold. You know what I mean? It's all about free exchange, folks. So try and keep your sensibilities together during this time. Jim out.